Hello, Steve White, Trickboy89 for Steve Arts 89. Well, some rumours from, that sidetrack guy. Um, I don't know if this guy actually has any connections. He claims to have connections on the business side of Secret Hideout and Paramount and all that. And what he's saying now is that it's looking more likely, because he's been telling us for months that, they're going to get rid of Kurtzman, he's out. They did an evaluation and decided that Star Trek would be better off without him. Long run, they'd be better off taking Star Trek in-house, producing the show themselves, because Skydance does produce TV shows and movies, so they can do it, and they can do it better and cheaper. Because frankly, Kurtzman's deal is a grift. Basically, someone pays them like $10 million to do a Star Trek episode. They probably spend half that money on the show, the rest paying themselves, and they're 23 producers, and you don't really see that money on air, and they do a bad job of creating an anti-Star Trek show to try and engage any audience other than the fan base, which they think is dead, and it just doesn't work. The rumour from him is that they're thinking of keeping the contract because it's easier to just extend the contract with some limitations, so he doesn't have as much control as he had before, while they work out what to do with Star Trek. And that way they can keep producing Star Trek in the meantime. That makes no sense from a business point of view, because they're losing money from Kurtzman making Star Trek. They'd be better off freezing it for a couple of years and just focusing on the back catalogue, which people actually watch and subscribe to have access to, and then reevaluate Star Trek and come back, maybe do a couple of movies, and then sort of develop a new universe to look at or reboot. Because you have two options. You acknowledge Star Trek is a multiverse and just pick a universe and just do a show there and commit to it, or you reboot the whole thing as a franchise and throw out all the multiverse elements in the different universes. That would be suicide. So what they should be doing is just picking a universe and sticking to it, because there are multi-universes, no matter how you look at it. I know a lot of new Trek fans are in denial about this, but they clearly established that Yor came from another universe. So obviously there's more than one Star Trek universe, because if he came from Kurtzman, then Discovery's not Kurtzman. If Kurtzman is Discovery, then he came from the original. So, and there's the different timeline in Strange New Worlds, from Khan being turned into a boy in Canada, and now the eugenics wars hasn't happened yet apparently. So that's a different timeline that obviously can't be the same as the other one. It's just a mess. But the rumour is that they are just going to keep doing what they're doing because they can't think of anything better to do. I think that would be stupid and suicide. They'd be better off just freezing everything, getting Kurtzman out. They can always bring Kurtzman back in if they think they made a mistake letting him go, with a new contract, that runs differently and gives them more control. What they really need to do is just let the contract end, bring in new people to work for them and produce Star Trek in-house, and start off with a couple of films, either re-establish the original universe or set up a new universe, acknowledge that it is a new universe, and then just go forward with that. That's the best thing to do. Just keeping Kurtzman going, because he's just losing money for them. They're spending tens of millions on these, hundreds of millions on these seasons, where you're costing like $10 million an episode. You're not seeing that on screen. This is a grift. They're getting, someone's paying them that money, and they are just giving half the money to the 23, 24 producers they've got, and basically paying themselves, and you don't even see it all on screen. They could make the show, look twice as good for the same money, or make it for half as much money by bringing it in-house. So if they're looking at money, if they want to make Paramount profitable, they need to get rid of Kurtzman and take it in-house and just get new people to come in and manage it season by season, or have someone come in and look at the whole series as a whole, the whole franchise as a whole. But the idea they're just going to keep going because it's just the easiest thing to do, I don't believe they'd be that stupid or that lazy, because you don't buy a company that doesn't work and then just go, let's just leave it as it is. Because they've got to manage hundreds of millions of dollars worth of debt and make it profitable. And the idea was, we're going to buy it, make it profitable, we can make money out of this, we can pay off that debt in the short term, and then long term make money out of managing this company better than it was being managed before. And if you're not going to do that, if you're just going to just buy it and keep it running as it was before with all the same problems, it just doesn't make any sense. I don't know if this guy's just coming to a conclusion, the people he's talking to, if they're coming to conclusions, because he says he has people on the inside, on the business side, that work for Skydance or Secret Hideout, and that's what they're talking about. They're talking about just letting the contract, altering it so KurtzMan has less control, and they have more control, but still keeping him in it so they can keep making the shows. But they just cancelled Strange New Worlds. Why would they do that if they were just going to keep going for it? Because they plan to just keep going right through Kirk's era, into at least the first year of the original series, because that was unexplored in the original series. They skipped a year between When No Man's Gone Before and the KurtzMan Maneuver. So none of it makes any sense, but then again, nor did Discovery. So who knows what's going to happen. But that's just where we are at now with his rumours. And he seems to be the only person talking about Star Trek at the moment. So maybe he's making it all up. Maybe he's just the only person with access at the moment. I don't know. We'll know in 6 months to a year what they're going to do. But I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of the whole situation.